Nothing better than coming home from a long day of work to relax by chugging your nightly cup of mayo. Am I right or am I right? At least in Stardew Valley for those mayo-averse people out there. With the Meadowlands farm, this truly inspirational feat is easier to achieve now more than ever. In Stardew, it's truly a tale as old as time. You start off with nothing but 15 parsnips in most cases, and a whole lot of determination. You slowly work your way up to build a coop, some mayo machines for that sweet mayo drink, but then you unlock bee houses and preserve jars. They hold you over until you can get your hands on the real prize, kegs. And then at that point, all those mayo machines, bee houses, and preserve jars just end up feeling a little useless. But what if you never advance past those mayo machines? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to figure out, whether you like it or not. But before we can really get into the nitty-gritty of things, we do have to do some math, so bear with me. I'm going to use a large shed filled with ancient fruit wine as a comparison. Trust me, I tossed and turned for several days over this decision because I am a firm starfruit wine lover. But I feel like with the higher seed price, it makes more sense to use ancient fruit as my comparison here. Now, let's get back to the math. A large shed allows for 137 kegs. At a base sell price of 1,650 gold, that's around 226,050 gold for 1 week. Now, here's where things get a bit tricky. Regular mayo sells for 190 gold, but with a little bit of tender chicken love, it's not hard to get that regular mayo up to gold quality. And with mayo, you could either opt for rancher or artisan perks potentially, but then the comparison back to wine is either moot or skewed in mayo's favor. So for simplicity's sake, I'm going to use gold quality mayo as a base price of 285 gold for my purposes. Now, I won't be comparing it to gold quality ancient fruit wine since the aging process takes literal months and time is money, which means in order to make 32,293 gold a day to add up to that 226,050 for 1 week, I'll need 114 chickens and mayo machines, which is around 10 fully upgraded coops worth. Now, that's a lot of chickens. To start off my mayo empire, I wasted no time grading my first 2 chickens. Like I mentioned earlier, the Meadowlands comes with a coop and 2 freshly hatched chickens, so I've made progress without even having to lift a finger. Talk about productive. Wanting to impress the chickens, I tried to clean up my farm a bit, provide a farm worthy of gold mayo, but I ended up destroying the farm a bit instead. Embarrassing, I know, and even more embarrassing is that I got closer to collecting all the villagers on the first day than I did in my 100 days video, but I still failed, and I'll just have to live with that failure for the rest of my life. I did end up foraging a bit so that I'll be able to afford more chickens since I still got some room in my coop. Somewhere along the way, I overexerted myself from all the excitement, but I was not and would never be too tired to move my bed to its proper position. I then spent the next day or so fishing since it's a good money-making tactic for the early game. I went up to the mountain lake since I like the sell price of the largemouth bass, but I never ended up catching as many as I would ideally like. Before my fishing efforts could resume, I made sure to buy 2 more chickens so my coop would be at max capacity. I know Marnie typically only has 2 days off a week, but I swear this woman chooses the most inconvenient days of the week. Please adjust your schedule for me next time, Marnie. And yeah, the good karma of my chicken purchase rubbed off on my fishing because I bagged 3 catfish. I'll be eating well tonight, but even though my stomach will be full, my supplies and my pockets weren't quite there yet, so I settled for saying hi to my chickens before fishing the day away. Not only was the 5th day the day the mines opened, but it was a good luck day as well. And I was blessed with a cat, and would you look at that, I found some earth crystals, which I will be needing in order to craft some of those Mayo machines. I couldn't have had a better day if I tried, but that momentum just didn't carry into the next day as I mainly focused on collecting materials I'll need for more coops and Mayo machines. At least I can find some comfort in the fact I ended up finding this absolute statement piece in the trash. And since the trash hat prevented my brain from fully functioning, I decided why not spend some of my hard-earned gold on a backpack upgrade instead of saving it for a coop. I mean, come on, it's a no-brainer. Literally, I had no brain, but at least I had the sense to continue my material collecting efforts in the mines for the next couple of days. Unfortunately for me, a ravenous crow decided to feast on my farm. Excuse me, sir, but I am but a humble farmer. I was literally too unskilled to craft a scarecrow for a bit there, okay? You should have taken pity on me. I mean, I would have assumed the crow could have sensed my fraying mental state and would have stayed clear of me as a result. But I guess that trash hat really does block those brainwaves. Not wanting any more of my crops to vanish and their potential farming experience along with them, I ended up whipping up a scarecrow. It just took less than a second. Now that is some skill right there. With my brain scrambled harder than my chicken's eggs, I had the false idea that I was ready for the next coop upgrade. I was wrong. So, as to not challenge this way of thinking, I brilliantly decided to switch gears and focus on building a silo. Now, don't get me wrong, I do have the luxury of foresight. Spoiler alert, VoiceOver Me has in fact played through all these days, and the silo was definitely a quality of life improvement. I can't deny that. But those 3 days are valuable. It takes 3 days for a new building, but as I've come to learn, it takes 2 days for each subsequent upgrade. That's valuable time right there. So 7 days in total for a fully upgraded coop. Now, that's the best case scenario because it could be delayed by Robin's schedule or a festival, as I learned the hard way. This me you see right here on the screen was completely naive to that. So yes, it is a little painful to witness this. But what can I do? All I can do is blame it on the trash hat. So yeah, I spent way too much time and energy trying to farm clay. I was a bit embarrassed at first, but then I remembered I'm pretty sure Concerned Ape fixed clay farming in the 1.6 update, so I no longer felt like my skills were subpar. That title is solely reserved for my brain activity because my lack of critical thinking just kept rolling. I waited for Gus to buy some salads because I was wiped out. And that's how you know this is a video game, because a salad was able to replenish a good portion of my energy. Anyway, I completed obliterating Robin's yard looking for clay, and good. I was able to collect 10 of them when I realized it was Tuesday, the day of the women's weekly exercise class I was not invited to. So Robin wasn't even on the clock, and it seemed my brain wasn't either. To remedy this, I forced myself to pass out. At least I had my potatoes to harvest in the morning. I really want to gain enough experience to unlock Mayo machines because each day that passes by is a day I am not cashing in on my chickens, and that's a travesty. And oh, looks like they will be mine at the end of the day. A good night's sleep was not enough to change my silo-focused mind, so I attempted to clear some of the farm, but since I had passed out the night prior, my energy was lacking, so I threw caution to the wind and haphazardly placed the silo. I stocked up on some salads before descending into the mines for materials. I need stones, earth crystals, and copper. Luckily for me, I got lots and lots of copper. And yeah, Mayo machines are mine. All mine. Obviously, with the Mayo machine recipe secured, I wasted no time crafting some of those machines. I need to start producing stat. Of course, I also had to give my little chicken chicken tenders some love. Otherwise, they might skimp out on me. Nothing is free in this world, I guess, besides my farm. Well, I guess that did come at the price of my grandpa's death. Anyway, I was trying to be a nice neighbor and give Robin her axe, but okay, this is entirely my fault. My silo placement was less than optimal because I couldn't reach her, which begs the question, how did she get there in the first place? I mean, we'll never know because she's too far away to talk to. I could find comfort in the fact luck seemed to be on my side as I received 500 gold in the mail. I also got gold from building a silo, and I'm really close to getting a coop upgrade. And would you look at that, my first 4 Mayo machines are all in production. Hopefully I won't get sick of this site because I've got a feeling I'll be here for a very long time. To pass the monotony, I headed over to the mines for another supply run. With the best festival of the year upon us, I obviously turned the competition sunny side up in the egg hunt. If you didn't notice, my name is Egghead. I not only live and breathe eggs and their Mayo counterpart, but I am the embodiment of an egg. Not to mention, I can use all the eggs I can get for my Mayo production. So you bet I was not above ruining a few kids' day, and Abigail's, for those sweet, sweet eggs. If you couldn't tell, I creamed the competition. The next day, I had a dilemma on my hands. To fish or to mine? Well, obviously, I went with neither. I instead cut down some trees because I needed more wood for the next coop upgrade, and I figured I could figure out everything else later. And thankfully, my efforts did pay off, as I finally commissioned Robin for a coop upgrade halfway into the spring season. Okay, I know that spring is usually a slow month in Stardew, but I had a head start with the Meadowlands farm, and I really said, head start, who needs it? Not me. I guess I really am an egghead. I ended up crafting 2 more Mayo machines in anticipation of my future chickens, but then I ran out of supplies. At least, these extra machines helped me catch up on my Mayo production finally. Obviously, when given the choice between mushroom or bat cave, I chose the right option, mushroom. Even before 1.6, the mushroom cave was always the right option, but the free dehydrator just cements its place as the best option, in my not so humble opinion. I will not be taking any opinions on the contrary, thank you very much. Since Robin was still hacking away at building my coop, I dropped my axe off at Clint's. Normally, I would not have been above suffering with a weak tool, but I have a feeling I will be here for a while, so might as well make the time enjoyable. I had a close call in the mines. My club was just too heavy for my little chicken arms, but I luckily managed to scurry on to safety with all my supplies in hand. Oh, how great. My coop is freshly upgraded, but Marnie is nowhere to be seen because she is hanging out with the women of the community. Sure, none of the younger bachelorettes are invited to their exercise session, but I am carrying this community on my back. Or, well, my chickens' backs, but that's just semantics. She still needs to show me some respect regardless. I opted to put one of my eggs in the incubator just to pass the time, since I guess at the end of the day, you can really only count on yourself. Because I never let myself down. Well, that's a lie, but telling myself otherwise would hurt my feelings. I went salmonberry hunting, and in that process, Sebastian decided to join in and hurt me even further by insinuating he wanted to throw me into the water. I'm not quite sure how to feel about that, so I put some salmonberries in my dehydrator in the meantime. Yeah, I did not learn anything from my 100-day video because I fully remember doing that in that video, and I was not impressed, to say the least. But you know what the opposite of worthless is? Chickens, of course. I bought 3 more chickens, still waiting on that egg to hatch in the incubator though. Pierre fully hijinxed me since I don't go to his shop frequently. I forgot he was closed on Wednesdays. He will rue this day. Pierre, you heard that. You will rue this day. I was stuck between a rock and a hard place, upgrade my pickaxe, or go to the mines to finish out a help wanted wanted quest for Clint. I opted to head to the mines, and it was good because I did end up collecting enough copper ore to satisfy Clint while leaving enough time to head over to Clint's, upgrade my pickaxe, and turn in that help wanted quest. Talk about being efficient. With my resources gathered, I crafted 2 more Mayo machines. Since I didn't have my pickaxe at the ready, I turned my efforts towards collecting wood instead. However, the next day my pickaxe was ready, so I did not hesitate to pick it up and head on over to the mines. I wanted to collect some more earth crystals, and fortunately for me, luck was on my side. I ended up pocketing 3 more earth crystals. Side note, I feel like these strawberries I planted are busted. They take forever to produce anything. My chickens could never. Taking a page out of the strawberries book, that egg I put in the incubator is cracked, and not in a good way. It's taking forever to fully do its thing, and it's clear I have made a mistake by trying to outsmart Marnie. And this was when I realized I didn't have to just keep upgrading the same coop before moving on to the next one, so I commissioned Robin to build me another coop. Since I've been running out of coal, I focused on gathering that instead of prioritizing copper or stone. And I had a brilliant idea of potentially crafting a crystallarium to speed up the earth crystal situation. But then I looked at the ingredients needed, and yeah, that's never gonna happen. At least I won't be able to craft one on my own anytime soon. I could, however, buy one from the community center with the most expensive vault bundle. To absolutely no surprise, my egg was still happily incubating the next day. I guess the chicken inside is not so excited to be laying eggs every day for the rest of its life. You could say it was just too chicken. I attempted to pick up a help wanted quest, but then I realized I'm not a certified hoarder in this save because I've been selling all my items I don't need for Mayo production, so I couldn't be bothered to help Emily. And so to the mines I went. Finally, my chicken hatched. But it was not enough of a celebration to keep me from continuing my efforts in the mines. I've been descending further and further into the mines because I want to upgrade my tools to gold quality eventually. And I needed a break from going back through the same floors over and over again. And would you look at that? My coop is done, but once again, it's a Tuesday. I have learned my lesson, so I will not be putting another egg in the incubator. But since at least some business owners were still operating this day, I headed on over to Clint's to upgrade my pickaxe. Then I went around town searching for Jody. I mean, where could she be? Oh, I know exactly where she was. I still wasn't invited. To blow off some of that steam, I cut down as many trees as possible. And I continued those efforts the next morning as I patiently waited for the flower dance to start. And yeah, I guess in hindsight, I don't even know why I ended up going to the dance in the first place. I literally talked to almost no one and watched awkwardly as all the bachelors and bachelorettes danced together. Well, everyone but me. And yeah, okay, I'm not perfect. I chose the rancher profession. Did I also not learn from this mistake in my 100-day video? No. And I have to live with that. Only it doesn't even really matter because I wasn't even using the artisan perk or rancher perk as a comparison, but it's the principle of it. Caught in the mistake of choosing rancher, I was conflicted on what to do for the day. Obviously, you know I had to go ahead and buy some more chickens. I opted to upgrade my axe once more before turning my attention back to the mines for more resource gathering. Say hi to the chicken guys. Well, technically, I suppose they are all chicken girls if they can all lay eggs. And I had every intention of upgrading my coop, but turns out I was too eager and forgot my supplies at home. And it was fortunate I did because I picked up a help wanted quest for Robin and I realized I was too broke to upgrade my coop. So I directed my attention towards the mines, gathering 3 more earth crystals in the process, which allowed me to craft 4 more Mayo machines chickens later in the day. With enough funds to upgrade my coop, I headed on over to Robin's and paid her for her services. On my way back, I picked up my axe and decided to opt for a more low-key day on the farm. The last day of spring was anticlimactic. I mean, it was nice to have 4 more chickens grow up and everything, but I spent most of my time searching the mines for any signs of an earth crystal, but I just came up empty-handed. In total, I've only got 12 chickens so far. At that pace, it will be a very long time until I reach my goal of 114 chickens and corresponding Mayos. I need to pick up the pace. I mean, honestly, at this rate, by the time I finish, it will be my turn to pass the farm down to my descendants. Unfortunately, summer does not start out with a bang. I can't buy any chickens because it's Monday, and I guess Marnie does not like to start the work week with work. I mean, I can't blame her, but I can be mad at her because her schedule could really be delaying my rise to Mayo glory. But before I can get there, I put in the hard work at the mines, searching for earth crystals that I never end up finding, in which this sad sequence of events repeats on the next day as well. And it's starting to feel a bit like Groundhog Day. Fortunately, the small streak of bad luck was cut short since I was able to buy 4 more chickens and fork over enough money and resources for yet another coop. I was even a little saucy, dare I say. I donated to the community center. Now, I don't plan to be such an overachiever and complete all the bundles, but I do want to get my hands on that boiler room. Specifically, I want to purchase the 25K bundle so that I can be rewarded with a crystallarium, so I won't have to brave the mines as much as I am now. The next 2 days are pretty much just repeats of my previous 2 bad luck days, so maybe I spoke too soon. I tend to my chicken children and then proceed to spend my time deep within the mines, and I mostly come up empty-handed, except when I do come across an ancient seed. And just like last time, at the end of those 2 days, the third day is a momentous one. I buy, you guessed it, another 4 chickens, and I forked over the cash and supplies for yet another coop upgrade. I even managed to find 4 more earth crystals, hopefully a sign for good things to come, except that sign was not taken seriously because it was a green rain day, and I wanted to limit my exposure to the toxic rain as much as possible, so I spent my time in the mines. I was able to find 2 more earth crystals and the last supplies I needed for the boiler room at the community center. I know the bundles tell you what item each room unlocks, but for some reason I had it in my mind that the boiler room unlocked the quarry. I was never more wrong. That's just not a thing. I mean, in my defense, it makes sense to me. The boiler room is filled with items from the mines, and the quarry is also filled with rocks and coal. It even has a secret entrance to a cave. My logic was not flawed, but my reading comprehension, on the other hand, yeah, that needs some work. I keep saying that time is valuable, but I seem to be the one wasting it. However, I don't waste any time buying that 25K bundle from the vault. Look at it. Look at it. The crystallarium never looks so good. Again, I wasted no time, so I quickly placed an earth crystal inside and kept up my overachieving tendencies by crafting 5 more Mayo machines. I'm really starting to not like Tuesdays, or maybe it's Marnie I should be mad at. In any case, I don't think I'd be able to convince her to rearrange her work schedule, so I went to work, after which I crafted another 2 Mayo machines. Since Marnia was finally behind the counter where she belongs, I bought 4 more chickens and then paid Robin a visit. Since I'm seemingly Robin's only customer at this point, I really wonder how she's managed to stay in business all these years. The luau snuck up on me, but don't worry, I just grabbed one of the Mayos from one of my many coops and headed on over. I really wasted no time to put my special creamy saucy substance into the community soup. No member of the community is exempt from tasting my quality special white sauce. I mean mayo. And wow, they seem to all love it. Not that I can blame them. With the previous day pretty much void of any progress, I went straight to the mines and unearthed 3 earth crystals. Now that I had a somewhat steady stream of earth crystals, I had run out of coal, so the mines I went. See, this is exactly why I wanted to unlock the quarry. I love me some coal nodes. Speaking of love, I do love that my Mayo empire is starting to grow and pick up pace. Currently, I'm making around 5k a day just from my Mayo, but that still is a bit off from 32k that I'm aiming for. To liven things up, I bought some more livestock, 4 more chickens to be exact. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I spent my money on a coop upgrade. To keep up with the theme of expansion, I crafted 4 more Mayo makers and even splurged on another axe upgrade. Since the momentum can never really carry over into the next day, when Robin takes so long to build or upgrade a coop, I went back to the mines in search of copper. While I did gather some copper, I also found 4 earth crystals. It always happens like that, doesn't it? Once you get a crystallarium and set it up with your gem of choice, you just naturally come across an abundance of them. I mean, I'm not complaining. And okay, this is getting ridiculous. Both Marnie and Robin are out of office, so progress has come to a halt in the chicken department. So I was forced to shift gears in search of coal. Coal might be what both Marnie and Robin are getting this year for the Feast of the Winter Star. Just saying. At least the very next day, there was no delay in me buying 4 more chickens, a new coop, and a whopping 16 more Mayo machines. I crafted those, by the way. I've certainly got my future on my mind, but it does not seem like Marnie and Robin are very supportive. I mean, they're the biggest limiting factor here, and I really shouldn't have been surprised. Not when they are still attending that exercise class every day, all while I still have no invite. I am their biggest customer. It wouldn't hurt them to be a little nicer to me, but I guess I have no alternative, so really I am just at the mercy of Marnie and Robin whether I like it or not. And I am putting it on the record, I very much do not like it. Behold! Look at all my chickens. I spent most of the day in the mines and I finally used up my last salmon berry. A moment of silence, please. At the end of the day, I unlocked Kegs, my competitor. At this point, I'm starting to make around 7k a day from Mayo. You know what they say, slow and steady wins the race, even if that pace is unintentional. Tending to all my chickens is taking longer and longer, but I do find comfort in the fact the longer it takes, the more money I make. And oops, I didn't mean to rid the entire forest of all its trees. It just happened, okay? It's not my fault. Eager to add more chickens to my chicken army, I bought 4 more chickens and opted for another coop upgrade. The next day, I crafted even more Mayo machines to help supply my arsenal. For some reason, even as I'm coming to you from the future, I thought upgrades took 3 days. Turns out they only take 2. I was like, are you kidding me? I messed up my notes. No, just turns out that trash can hat really does have the power to stop brain activity because I was under the false assumption it was 3 days. I'm really learning a lot about myself through this process. To try and make up for my deforestation, I did plant a new forest in the train station. I'll be needing lots of wood in my future, and I quickly put some of my wood to use as I bought another coop upgrade and splurged on not 4 chickens, but 8 of them. While I was at it, I crafted 5 more Mayo machines, and by the end of the crafting session, I was running out of both wood and stone. How lovely. To help decompress from all my expansion, I spent the next day mainly tending to my chores. You know, just the monotony of life. But things picked back up the following day when I purchased 4 more chickens and yet another coop upgrade. Like I mentioned before, I was running low on supplies, so I hit the mines in hopes of gathering quite a bit of stone. The last 2 days of summer were more chore days, trying to get my hands on more wood. At least at the end of the season, I was able to watch the moon jellies float off into the distance. As the summer season comes to a close, I now have a total of 48 chickens. Okay, I made slow progress in the spring, but I really put some spring in my step this summer. I wasn't afraid to ruffle some feathers and get the work needed to continue my expansion. If only Robin and Marnie were on the same page, then I'd probably already have all 114 chickens by now. I would like to point out that I didn't lie at the start of the video when I said that I tossed and turned on my decision about whether or not to choose ancient fruit or starfruit as the comparison. Originally, I was using starfruit wine as my comparison, and just to let you know, that would be around 232 chickens needed. It was around this point I realized that obviously was possible, but one, probably wouldn't be realistic since it would undoubtedly take over a year in game to reach, and two, would eventually feel very monotonous. I mean, I had recently finished a 100-day video, and I said I would not make another one so soon. Joke was on me with that thinking. Anyway, I point this out because if you notice I have way too many supplies, I'm specifically looking at you, copper bars, than needed. That's why. While summer didn't end with a bang, fall does start off on the right foot with another coop upgrade. Beyond that, I just get to some basic chores. In the meantime, when I'm not buying or building coops, I'll either be collecting wood, stone, earth crystals, or copper. Going forward, I might not specifically call this out, but it is happening. With the power of foresight, Robin knew I needed more supplies, so she sent me some wood in the mail. And would you look at that? By the grace of Yoba himself, Marnie was actually on the clock. Who would have thought such a feat could be achieved? I think all my complaining worked. So if there's anything you take away from this video, let it be this. Always complain. It will work out in your favor. Because of this, I was able to buy 4 more chicks. Another coop upgrade was on the docket, and this is where my Mayo money starts to come in handy because I was short some supplies, so I decided to just buy some wood and stone instead of putting in the hard labor myself. It really is taking forever to care for these chickens. It will all be worth it one day, I have to remind myself. But I will say, yes, I do pet each chicken every day. No exceptions, and it really can be quite chill. I've just been catching up on YouTube videos and listening to audiobooks as well, and it really is a vibe. And would you look at that? I not only got 4 more chickens and a new coop, I had enough money to fix the bus, so I thought I might as well. Throughout this entire process, I have been in the trenches, manually petting and picking up the eggs. Now, I don't mind a bit of a grind, but I am happy to know that the auto grabbers are within reach, even if they are a bit pricey. Auto petters, on the other hand, I have enough reason to not even dream about getting my hands on those. I mean, in none of my playthroughs have I ever been lucky enough to cross paths with one in the Skull Caverns, so I don't think this is the time to change my luck in that department. I did manage to craft 12 more Mayo machines in preparation for more chickens. True to my word, I went to Marnie's with the intention of getting my hands on the auto grabber. I was so excited. But I did get distracted by Lewis's vibrant purple underwear. Oh, the plans I have for you. In all my excitement, I forgot to actually purchase an auto grabber, and I simply can't stand for that, so I raced back to Marnie's and purchased 2 of them. Still caught up in all the excitement, I forgot to tend to the Mayo, so of course I had to give my chicken some love. For some reason, I am missing an egg some days. I'm hoping the auto grabber will help with this. Otherwise, I might have to leave my problem chickens outside for the coyotes to get to. Turns out, I may have been hasty in my ideas to potentially give a coyote a free buffet because I definitely was gaslighting myself. I had 13 Mayo machines in 2 of my coops, so of course it was not going to add up. So as to put those extra machines to good use, I forced Robin to upgrade another coop. Okay, suspicious things are definitely happening on my farm because I thought I was down an egg the other day, but now I suspiciously have an extra egg. My brain is scrambling itself myself here. I guess this is just a side effect of going into the chicken business. To add even more chickens to my budding business, I bought 8 more. And yeah, you'll notice they're blue. I have secretly been befriending Shane this entire time because if my life is going to be overrun by chickens, they might as well be fun to look at. Since I'm quickly becoming a walking ATM, I bought some heaters in preparation for winter. A little early prep never hurt anyone, besides my wallet, I guess. And I grabbed another auto grabber. I once again put Robin to work. No days off for her on my watch. I casually just had a Bigfoot sighting when I was doing a bit of blackberry hunting. I wonder if I could pay him to work on my farm? Channeling the Bigfoot's supernatural powers, I forced Robin to build me another coop. Don't feel too bad for her, at least she's getting compensated. I went ahead and bought 4 more chickens. The only notable thing I did the next day was reach the bottom of the mines. I originally wasn't going to do this because I just didn't need to, but like I said, I have plans for the mayor's underwear. So to the skull caverns I went. I was on the hunt for some mummies. They were playing hard to get, especially with my small, very, very small bomb supply, but I fortunately managed to snag a piece of cloth. Emily greeted me, and she is oblivious to the power she has handed me by allowing me to use her sewing machine. But before I could put the sewing machine to questionable use, I made sure Robin was scheduled to be right back at my farm with another coop upgrade. And look at that, I'm suddenly the best dressed villager in the entire town. The fair was upon me, and I obviously had to display all my Mayos. So I grabbed my Mayo for the day, and okay, now there really are eggs missing. This is not a part of the plan. In more fortunate news, I think my change of outfit scared Lewis. He thought I was too powerful and didn't award me first place. Again, with my scrambled brains, I for some reason bet on orange. I know it's green, always green, but I had a lapse in judgment, so I just decided to abandon any hopes of getting a star drop and headed home. At least to make up for the disappointing fare, I bought 4 more chickens and more auto grabbers. I even crafted 10 more Mayo machines. That crystallarium really coming in clutch for me. Rest is for the wicked, so Robin was yet again commissioned for another coop upgrade. I tried to get Marnie to pull her weight, but she was unexpectedly out of office. Rude, just plain rude. Oh, I guess it was her birthday or something. But like I said, rest is for the wicked, and I guess that means Marnie is a freak. But we already knew that by the company she keeps. Since Marnie was officially another year older, but not another year wiser, I could buy 4 more chickens from her. I opted to buy some hay while I was at it. I have enough grass to turn to hay, but I was lazy and winter is coming, so better safe than sorry. And while I was at it with all the prep, I made 12 more Mayo machines. Again, I paid Robin to build another coop. I bought more stone and wood because my wallet was feeling a little too heavy, so I had the gold to spare. To continue the theme of repeating things, I bought 4 more chickens and more hay. I really don't know why some coops don't have eggs. I think Big Egg might be sabotaging me. Okay, this is just getting ridiculous. I am still missing an egg. To make myself feel better, I talked to Lewis and sent him into a fright. After doing a little bit of research, I decided to close the coop door at night. I read a Reddit post from like 8 years ago that this might help, so we'll see how reliable that is. So far, so good, fingers crossed. No eggs missing so far, but there's still plenty of time for more eggs to go missing. To increase my odds of having a missing egg, I bought 4 more chickens and forced Robin to upgrade another coop. In order to make up for my increasing size of my chicken family, I crafted yet again another 12 more Mayo machines. Wasting no time, I was yet again knocking at Robin's door so she would be pounding her hammer at my farm. You know by now, I was not shy to buy 4 more chickens. I stocked up at Marnie's and I really feel like we're on the final countdown to success right here. Kind of like how summer ended without a bang, fall had me falling into the winter season without too much fanfare. I mainly just tended to my chickens, readying myself for winter. And yes, I have just 1 silo for all these chickens. I don't have time for Robin to build me another silo, so that should be fun. Speaking of fun, I completely skipped skipped the festival because I've only got room in my mind for Mayo at this point. But I guess there really was a bit of a more eventful end to fall because Robin started to build me a new coop. I bought 4 more chickens and I crafted 12 new Mayo machines, signaling the start to the final countdown. Looks like I'll really be able to reach my goal sometime in winter. Now that the chickens are all trapped inside for 28 days, I kind of like it. I mean, running around myself like a chicken with its head cut off to pet all my chickens is fun and all, but there's a beauty in their imprisonment. Really wanting to start this season off with a bang, I completed the craft room. I said earlier I wanted to unlock the quarry, and I stand by that. I just won't be needing it anymore. And would you look at that? I'm already a Mayo millionaire in my book. The days feel shorter as the sun goes to bed earlier in the winter, so I won't feel as bad for being unproductive in those days between upgrades. Luckily, the next day just so happened to be one of those upgrade days, so I convinced Robin to upgrade another one of my coops. I'm sure she's absolutely sick of me, even if I am good for business. I then hopped over to Marnie's, purchased 4 more chickens and some hay. Even though I didn't really prep too much in terms of hay for the winter, with all this Mayo money rolling in, I think I'll be just fine. And look, they say life imitates art, and that's exactly why I found the chicken statue. Behold its glory! Propelled forward by all the good vibes from that chicken statue, I upgraded one of my coops. I'm getting so close to my 10 coop goal. I really only need 10 coops with 2 upgrades, not the final upgrade, but I like to go big or go home within reason, so I'll fully upgrade that final coop, don't you worry. I also purchased 4 more blue chickens to help fill the void in my heart. I still can't tell if it's working. As day 100 looms closer, I decided day 90 should be a day of pampering my chicken guys. Or girls, I suppose. Wanting my chickens to feel like the fanciest of chicken tenders, of course I made sure to give my chickens love once again before commissioning Robin to build another coop. The final frontier! At this point, she should have built herself one of those cabins and taken up permanent residence. Demetrius can have my mushroom cave I've long since abandoned. I mean, I think it's past due for him to come check on it anyway. You would not be surprised to know I bought 4 more chickens, and I'm happy my time frame is starting to add up more nicely, so I won't have to be waiting around for other people to get their act together. I thought about skipping the Festival of the Ice. I mean, it's starting to take a lot of time to pet, collect, and produce mayonnaise, but not too much time to be unreasonable. But I couldn't resist the urge to cream the competition, which is exactly what I ended up doing. Even though my fishing glory days were long in the past, I blew those fools right out of the water, which was lucky for them since it's so cold out. And maybe my split-second decision was not the best. There must be some kind of cutoff or something for when the chickens will produce eggs the day of a festival. I'm pretty sure it's happened before, but 2 of my coops were eggless, and they wouldn't tolerate any pets. So moody. They were, however, more cooperative the next day. Not that I let them try to do otherwise 2 days in a row. With only 2 upgrades left, I wasted no time dragging Robin back to my farm. I even spent some money on more wood and stone so she would be extra happy with me. I bought 4 more chickens. Technically, at this point, I only needed 2 more to reach my goal of 114, but I'm an overachiever. You could feel the anticipation on the farm as I pet each chicken. But it also could have just been all the static electricity. I know those chicken feathers are accumulating in this weather. I never thought I'd see the day. It's time for one final upgrade. First, I need to say thank you to Robin. I feel like I've been robbing her of her time these past few months. Without her, none of this would have been possible. And to Marnie, as I go buy 4 more chickens, I can't help but still be salty about your work schedule. And so I will refrain from saying anything else. But just like Arby's, we've got the meat on my farm. Okay, I kind of hate how that sounds, but it's true. Look at all those chickens. As an official coop master, it still takes practically half the day to tend to these chicken tyrants. It's well worth it though. Mayo surprisingly makes more money than I thought, and to be honest, I'm not sure I ever made this much money in 1 year before. On the momentous day 100, I thought it was gonna be like any other Tuesday, but it seems Marnie heard my complaints. She was in office on a Tuesday. It wasn't raining, and when something like this happens, I'm always like, it's a bug. It's a bug. Something has gone haywire. But no, it's just one of her exceptions to the schedule. And for that, I am thankful. I bought 4 more chickens. I now have a total of 120. I'm currently at 116 mayos in total, but I feel like it's only right to try and get 114 of those mayos to be gold quality for comparison's sake. I mean, I do have the rancher perk, so the gold mayos are worth more than what I used in my math earlier, but it's the thought that counts. Okay, I will spare you the boring nitty-gritty. I basically just spent the remaining days petting and harvesting eggs. I was dedicated and determined to get those 116 gold quality mayos. And I finally achieved this on day 110. I was cutting it close by reaching year 2, but the power of the chickens persevered. Whether or not this mayo method is more viable than just holding out for kegs truly is a personal choice, but I'm just saying, I don't think I've ever made this much money in year 1 as I have with the help of the almighty Mayo. So maybe in your next playthrough, farm Mayo instead of wine. And okay, I can't just leave you hanging. Kent, get out of the way. It's time to release the chickens to see what a farm of 120 chickens looks like. So many chickens. I wonder how many chickens my farm could handle before it combusts. But before I pet my chickens for one last time, there is something else I must do. Yes, during this entire time, I've been working my way towards completing 40 help wanted quests, all for this moment, the chicken mask. I spent so much time with my chickens, I basically feel like one myself. Now to sit back and relax while drinking some mayo. Life just doesn't get better than this. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you like, and stay tuned for similar videos in the future. Bye!